Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And today's range report is on another really cool 1911, really a 2011. This is the Staccato P. And it's been customized for its owner. And yes, this is a gun that is on loan to the channel for review. And this particular gun comes from, once again, my good friend D, who has lent me so many of his awesome high-end firearms. And lately, a bunch of these awesome 2011. So thank you, D. I appreciate you entrusting me with your awesome firearms. And as always, I always want to thank my Patreons. Their monthly support goes a long way in helping me keep the lights on around here and buying equipment so I can keep this content coming to you. And of course, my weekly sponsor for all of these range reports, and that is Brownworks. Brownworks is a company that makes fine custom wood grips for a wide variety of firearms. Mark over there has amazing customer service and is a master craftsman. He can make grips for a wide variety of guns, as I mentioned, from 1911, CZs, Berettas, and even more. He can make them from a number of different types of exotic woods, put on custom logos and engravings. He does absolutely amazing work. And I want you to go over to his website. I'm going to link to it in the comment section and in the description through an affiliate link, and go over there and see what he has that you might be interested in. And if you don't find something, make sure you contact him and say, hey, I'm looking for this particular thing. I like it in this color, this type of wood, and I guarantee you he will hook you up. He makes one-of-a-kind grips that are one-off, so they are like nothing else. If you have a special heirloom gun or a barbecue gun that you want something very special for, I guarantee you Mark can make them for you. Brownworks is just an amazing company, and the quality of his grips is off the charts. I've had many of my subscribers talk about his amazing products that they have ordered because I've been talking about them so much, and they really love his grips. So as I said, use that affiliate link in the description and the pinned comment, and there's also a discount code down there for 10% off your first order. So please go check out Brownworks and tell them the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so what is this particular gun we have into the channel today on review? Well, I've already told you this is a Staccato P. I guess it's kind of a commander size 2011. It has the more traditional look, which I really like, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. By the traditional look, I mean the frame only comes out to its usual length versus going all the way to the end. This version does not have a compensator, but I know you're looking at this and going, that doesn't look like any Staccato I've ever seen. And that's because the owner of this pistol, D, has some custom work done to it. Look at this Cerakote job. It is a flat dark earth camo pattern. And you guys know I absolutely love flat dark earth. So this thing, to me, really looks fantastic. And he also had the barrel ported there at the top. And all of this custom work was done by a company in Plano, Texas called Vulcan Machine Werks. And I can tell you, just looking at the quality of this Cerakote job and that porting, they do absolutely amazing work. But I think that's the only thing about this gun that has been customized. Everything else is stock Staccato. So that's what this gun is. So now let's talk about the things that I like and don't like about this particular gun. As I've already mentioned, I like the look of the traditional 1911. So we have that kind of scalloped front to the front of the slide. So let me see if I can get that in focus. There you go. So that frame does not go all the way to the end, and I like the fact it doesn't have the compensator. Now the compensators on the Staccatos work really, really well. But after shooting a few of them, they're actually kind of difficult to clean, and I think they aesthetically don't look as nice. So I really like what D did here with this porting on the top of the barrel, but you get that traditional 1911 look. It's also a Staccato, and I have really started to fall in love with these 2011 9mm double stack 1911s. They're of exceptional quality. I really didn't think I would get into them as much as I had since I have reviewed them. And the Staccatos just make one fine product. The controls of this firearm are also great. We have some ambi controls for the safety lever on both sides. The detent on it is nice and solid. It actuates exceptional. And I absolutely love the color, as I've already talked about, and the sights. I like the fact that Staccato puts on these really tall, I usually call them suppressor height sights, but being a ported barrel, obviously it is not threaded and can't run a suppressor, but you can look through a red dot with the iron sights in case that's the way you wanted to go, or your red dot was out of commission, maybe due to damage or the battery being out. So now let's talk about a couple of things that I don't like. And the only thing that I really don't like about this gun is going to be the slide stop. We have these enlarged controls, as I mentioned, on both sides for the safety. But when it comes to the slide stop, it's relatively small. This is a standard sized 1911 slide stop. And I kind of find with this larger grip module, it's kind of hard to reach even with my longer thumb. I kind of wish that they would offer that with an extended pad like they do the safety as well. But just handling it here in the garage, that's really my only complaint. It is just a rock solid firearm. All right, so let's get this thing to the range. Let's see how it shoots. I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with this barrel porting. I don't know if it's going to have a bigger flash. I don't know how it's going to affect the recoil as compared to the Staccato XC that I recently reviewed. I'm kind of anxious about that. I also want to see how this trigger feels. So let's just get this thing to the range. My first shots is going to be one full magazine at 7 yards. Let's just see how I do. All right, so I definitely think we're off to a good start. This gun shoots great. Now, I will say it doesn't have the same recoil as the XC with that big comp on the front, but the recoil is still exceptionally light. And you don't even really notice it, but I will say that comp on the end, maybe it adds that extra weight. In the other models, it is a little bit smoother shooting, but this is still fantastic. I noticed when I was editing the footage, you see a lot of flames coming out of these ports, but when you're really shooting it, you don't notice it at all. And I also did not notice the concussion that sometimes you get with compensated or ported barrels. So for me, it was just like shooting a standard 1911 in 9mm, just with a little bit better recoil impulse. As I mentioned, the gun seems to be relatively accurate, and I really like the fact this one has that curved trigger. You guys know I sometimes complain about those flat face triggers that are kind of in vogue right now. I like my triggers to be a little bit more curved. So this thing feels fantastic in my hand. Now, you did notice I did shoot a little bit low. For some reason, every time I shoot a gun that has been zeroed by D with one of his red dots, I always shoot them low. So I'm going to adjust this one. I'm going to put another magazine through and just see if I can get that grouping any better. And I definitely think I did a little bit better. This is such a fantastic firearm. It feels great in my hands. I like the way it looks. I like that porting. It's just maybe the best 1911 I've ever shot, or maybe my favorite. It might not be the exact best. Maybe that Nighthawk Custom was nicer, but when it comes to my personal preferences when it comes to 1911s, well, this one may take the cake. All right, so let's do what I call the accuracy portion. Essentially, I'm going to set the target out at 12 yards, about double the distance as I started out with, and I just want to see how this grouping opens up. I know some people say this really isn't about accuracy because you're not bench resting the pistol. Well, I'm an average gun guy. I'm not going to bench rest it. I just want to see if I can shoot this thing accurately at a further distance. So, let's see what happens. Alright, so I was not expecting this to happen. We've had a mechanical issue, and it seems to be with one of the magazines. Now, D supplied 2 magazines for this review, plus I had the extended ones for the XC. Now, one of these magazines looks like it has a little bit more wear on the side, but nothing about it looks abnormal. Just looks like it's been gently used. And when I put it into the firearm, it locks in. But you notice I was just able to pull that out. Now my finger is away from the magazine release. So here I'll show you. It definitely snaps in. It's locked in. And if I wiggle it around, I can make it come out again. It doesn't lock into this gun. This other magazine, however, does. As I said, I have inspected both of these and I can see nothing about them that looks any different. Nothing about this one magazine would concern me. I don't see any dents, any unusual wear. It just doesn't like this particular firearm. So I'm still going to try to mess with it and see, well, maybe it could be a little bit out of spec because of the Cerakote. That is one of the downsides about Cerakoting a gun. Whenever you add an extra layer to a gun, well, guns are designed to have very tight tolerances and very specific tolerances. And no matter how good the Cerakote job is, it can kind of get in the spots and cause mechanical problems until it wears in. So maybe that's what's going on here. I don't know. But right now, this magazine seems to want to keep falling out. I'm going to try it a couple other times just to see if I can get it to work. But we're going to do this accuracy portion again, going for the head on this IDPA target at 12 yards. Another magazine, well, with the good magazine. So now let's see if this gun still shoots accurate at further distances. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that result, and really I would expect nothing else from a company like Staccato. Once again, these guns really seem to make me be a better shot than I actually am. Alright, so the next test I like to do is the quick magazine change, or maybe it's like a competitive thing or a defensive use thing I like to do. Simply see if I can shoot the gun really fast, exchange the magazine as fast as I possibly can, and get the gun back in action. Well, I am going to try to give this magazine that doesn't seem to work one more chance. Maybe if I don't top it off and put the spring under so much pressure, it might work. So I'm going to load up like 5 rounds in each magazine, see if I can change out this magazine fast, and hopefully, well, this magazine will work.
Problem with the magazine.
And that's a big nope. There's just something wrong with this magazine, so I'm going to make sure to let D know. I think he just needs to buy another one. Magazines sometimes can be a little bit finicky, and this one definitely is. Even though I do think it is a Staccato brand magazine, or what does it say here on the side? STI, so they're another great company, so who knows, maybe it's under warranty or something, but this magazine is no good in this Staccato P. All right, so let's try that again, and this time I'm going to use one of the extended mags from the Staccato XC series, and hopefully we'll see how easy these magazines are to change out. All right, so this gun definitely wants to be shot fast. It has a fantastic trigger in it. However, the magazines don't really fall free. As you can see, I'm dropping them as best I can and they kind of get stuck. They don't fling out of there. So if you already have reached for your replacement magazine and you just drop that, well, you might have to strip it. To me, that's going to slow you down. Now, what's causing this? Well, sometimes on these 2011s, the magazines drop free. On this one, once again, it could be the custom Cerakote. It adds a little bit of distance between the usual material for the receiver and the magazine, and it can cause a little bit of friction. Is that the case? Maybe, maybe not. I know that Cerakote can kind of be thin, but I'm looking at it here. It does look like it has a little bit of wear, and when I take my finger and put it into that magazine well, the texture inside this grip module is a little bit on the rough side. So if I was going to compete with this gun, or I was planning on doing quick magazine changes for whatever reason, well, that's something I would have to be aware of, and maybe I wouldn't put a custom Cerakote job on a gun that might already have tight tolerances, but that's up to you. I'm only speculating here on the reason that this magazine does not fall out of here really fast. But I like my magazines to fling out of my guns quickly, whether or not I'm using it for a competition or for a home defense purpose. All right, so the next thing I want to do is give my wife Becky a shot. She has really enjoyed shooting these 2011s as well, and I gotta tell you, she's really a good shot with them. They're not her favorite guns, but man, do I think she shoots them well. So I'm curious how she's gonna do on this one. So let's find out. And once again, as I suspected, she shot this thing great. Wow, what a group. I'm so proud of her. She shoots these guns fantastic. And afterwards, I asked her, do you have any complaints? Anything you like? She goes, well, it's okay. I shoot it really well. I just don't like the grip texture. Now, you guys hear me say that almost in every range report. She just has very sensitive hands. In fact, I took her down to the gun store recently, say, hey, we need to pick you up some new shooting gloves, because maybe that's the problem when it comes to the texture on all of these guns that I'm shooting, because having an aggressive texture is kind of the in thing right now. And she goes, no, we can't. And I said, well, why not? It's really going to help you. She goes, they probably don't sell them in pink. So yeah, we had to order some on Amazon, and those are coming soon because they have to be in pink. Go figure. But she shot this thing great, liked everything about it, but she said it was just the texture. But that's a small little gripe, and I'm so proud of her for shooting it so well. All right, so I got one more test just in case you were planning on using this for home defense or personal protection. You gotta know, is this thing gonna run hollow points? I don't think there's going to be any issue with it, but you never know. I'm also curious if the Plus P ammunition is going to have a bigger flash through these ports, if I'm going to have any more felt recoil. The ammunition I'm going to use for this is going to be the Sig Sauer Elite V Crown, so let's see how it performs. perfect reliability from the hollow points, once again, as expected from such a high quality gun. When it came to the recoil impulse with the Plus P, I didn't notice any change from the regular ammunition, but I did notice a bigger flash from the port. So if you have a gun like this with the porting, that's one of the big things people say you really shouldn't do is carry it for defense, because in low light situations, it could distract you and cause you to lose track of your target. For me, it doesn't really bother me, but it is something worth mentioning because some people talk about it and mention it as being a problem. But for me, it's not. So, what are my final thoughts on the Staccato P with all of this custom work done by Vulcan Machine Werks? Well, I have to tell you, this might be my favorite 1911 I've ever shot. It's a lot of fun. It's beautiful, it's attractive. It has a couple of downsides to it, like that magazine issue and the magazine's not falling free, but maybe if it is that Cerakote in there, maybe you could take some sandpaper or something up there to kind of smooth out that texture, get those magazines to work a little bit better. But besides that, every other option on this is exactly the way I would want it to be. And Vulcan Machine Werks, which by the way, I will put a link to their company in the description if you want to go check them out. I am not affiliated with them. I've never talked to them. I never even heard about them before this video, but they did such a fantastic job on this Cerakote and these ports for a relatively, I think, affordable price. Well, I gotta give them a shout out because they did excellent work. But every option on this is something that I would want personally on a custom 1911 like this. And it's just been a real pleasure to shoot. And it met all of my expectations after shooting the Staccato XC and the Nighthawk Custom. So I really have no complaints. Besides the magazine, fantastic gun, excellent trigger, tons of options, super attractive, very accurate, a lot of fun to shoot. It's just a classic gun that has been modernized for the 21st century. So I'll give you guys one more close-up of this really awesome Staccato P. So on my star system, how would I rate this particular firearm, the Staccato P with all of the custom work from Vulcan Machine Werks? Well, it easily gets 4.5 stars out of 5. It cannot be a perfect review because of the magazine issue. I'm not sure what's causing it with this particular magazine, and the magazines don't fall out. But those are two small gripes, but 4 out of 5 stars I think is a really great rating for this incredible firearm. I really love it, and I think D has one amazing 1911 in his collection, so I'm honored to have gotten to shoot it. So there you go. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the Staccato P as compared to the other models with the full-length frame? I'd love to know your thoughts, and have you ever shot one of these? And do you really think they're worth all the extra money over a standard 1911? So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.